G.M. Hopkins. Gerard Manley Hopkins, born in 1844, was an English poet and Jesuit priest whose distinct voice marked him as one of the most unique Victorian writers. His works, however, remained unpublished in a collected form until 1918, yet his impact was substantial on numerous prominent 20th century poets. As the eldest of 9 children, Hopkins showed early promise in poetry, winning the Poetry Prize at the Highgate Grammar School. In 1863, he received a grant to study at Balliol College, Oxford, where he delved into writing poetry alongside his classical studies. The prevailing Oxford movement's atmosphere influenced Hopkins' conversion to Roman Catholicism in 1866, and he later decided to become a priest. After joining the Jesuit novitiate in 1868, Hopkins, although vowing not to write poetry anymore, continued to maintain a journal until 1875, capturing his vibrant responses to nature and reflecting on his unique philosophical perspective rooted in the idea of inscape, the individuality found in all natural elements. In 1874, he moved to St. Buenos College in North Wales to study theology, where the impact of the Welsh language and the tragic event of a shipwreck led him to break his poetic silence. His notable works, including The Wreck of the Deutschland and the sonnet The Windhover, showcased original language richness and unique rhythms. Ordained as a priest in 1877, Hopkins served in various capacities, including teaching and mission work. He experienced deep desolation and artistic frustration, reflected in his terrible sonnets, which arose from spiritual and artistic tensions. Hopkins was appointed professor of Greek literature at University College Dublin in 1884. In Ireland, he faced an uncongenial environment and health issues. His later poems highlighted the struggles he faced, bridging the joys of the natural world with his religious calling. His friends urged him to publish the poems, but Hopkins resisted, leading to the publication of only some immature verses and original Latin poems during his lifetime. Hopkins passed away in 1889 due to a typhoid fever and was buried in Dublin's Glasnevin Cemetery. His unfinished works included a commentary on the spiritual exercises of St. Ignatius of Loyola. Posthumously, poet laureate Robert Bridges began publishing a few of Hopkins's mature poems, aiming to pave the way for broader recognition. Hopkins's poetry gained recognition in the 20th century with notable influence on leading poets like T.S. Eliot, Dylan Thomas, W.H. Auden, Stephen Spender, and C.D. Lewis. His poetic style aimed for a profound rhetoric of verse, emphasizing the musicality and subtleties of English language. He coined Sprung Rhythm, known for its unique stress patterns, contributed to his deeply personal and vivid poetry, depicting his profound spiritual and natural observations. Hopkins' letters revealed his critical insight, self-criticism, humanity, and strong will. Revered for his rare chastity of mind, he was remembered for being a guiding example to those who aspired to emulate his intellectual integrity. Pied Beauty, the Windhover, to Christ our Lord. Pied Beauty is a sonnet composed by Gerard Manley Hopkins during the summer of 1877 and published posthumously in 1918 as part of the collection Poems of Gerard Manley Hopkins. This well-known poem celebrates the unique and diverse aspects of nature, challenging the conventional notion of perfect beauty. It is a curtal sonnet featuring an initial section of 6 lines and a closing section of slightly over 4 lines. In the poem, the narrator expresses gratitude to God for the variety of dappled things found in nature, such as piebald cattle, trout, and finches. The poem vividly describes how falling chestnuts resemble coals bursting in a fire, as their reddish-brown meat is revealed when the shells break upon the ground. Furthermore, the narrator illustrates how the landscape itself has been plotted and pieced into fields by agricultural activities akin to a quill's patchwork. Concluding the poem, the narrator emphasizes God's unchanging beauty and urges readers to offer praise. This conclusion carries a subtle irony and a beautiful surprise. Throughout the poem, the focus has been on the diversity of creation, but then God's attribute of immutability is extolled in contrast. By juxtaposing God's changelessness with the ever-changing nature of his creation, the poem emphasizes the separation between the creator and the created world while highlighting his immense creativity. This volta or turn also underscores the poet's ability to unite apparent opposites through the interplay of form and content. The use of sprung rhythm, unique to Hopkins, and the incorporation of various alliterative syllables provide an auditory representation of the visual diversity described in the poem. The Windhover, to Christ our Lord. The Windhover to Christ our Lord is a sonnet by Gerard Manley Hopkins, written on May 30, 1877, and posthumously published in 1918 as part of the collection Poems of Gerard Manley Hopkins. The poem is dedicated to Christ our Lord. The term Windhover refers to the common kestrel, known for its ability to hover in midair while hunting for prey. In the poem, the narrator admires this bird as it appears to master the art of flight, suggesting that it controls the wind as a skilled horseman guides a horse. The bird's dramatic swoop downwards, described as rebuffing the big wind, is a significant moment in the poem. The poem can be interpreted as an allegory or metaphor for Christ or a divine epiphany. Hopkins held the Windhover in high regard, considering it the best thing he ever wrote. Over the years, this poem has been featured in numerous anthologies and has been the subject of various interpretations.